When Call of Duty Black Ops 4 released in 2018, the game made waves with its bold focus on multiplayer, battle royale, and of course, the return of zombies. Now zombies has been in the game for a long time at this point. It's been in the game for 10 years. So, for a lot of people, zombies is the heart and soul of the COD franchise. And Black Ops 4 innovated, but also regressed. Today we're going to dive into how zombies in Black Ops 4 evolved. Because today, zombies in Black Ops 4 is looked back on better than it was on release. It's still not a favourite at all. A lot of people do not call it a good game, but it has grown with time. It's one of the most intricate and honestly complex games in the whole Call of Duty franchise, especially when you look at the fact that it doesn't even have a campaign, so they had to fill that void and they filled it with Blackout. So let's move on. A new beginning. So, Black Ops 4 kicked off with a total shift in zombies. The narrative changed completely with a split in the stories. You had the Chaos story, which was less engaging because there was new characters weren't known, and we'd already expected Ether, which is your classic Richtofen, Dempsey, Nikolai, and Takeo. Chaos introduced 4 characters that were honestly underwhelming, and the story didn't pan out the way it should have done. That is a shame, because I think the characters are quite funny. I just don't like Bruno. But that's just me. But yeah, each map did bring its own story. They felt like standalone story maps, like how Call of the Dead felt like its own standalone map. If you did the Easter egg, then you got a little bit of storyline, but not a lot. 9, Voyage of Despair, they were the Chaos maps. They were the launch Chaos maps, and they were average. 9 was amazing. It's one of the only top tier maps that can sort of sit with, Zetsubo and Gorokrovi in that sort of category of map in Black Ops 4. Is one of the only maps that can do that. But Voyage of Despair was average at best, and that's only nowadays. Back when it released, it was so poorly promoted. No one really believed in it. No one cared. And it felt unfinished. Unfinished is the best word for it. And then we had Blood of the Dead. That was another launch map. That was the Ether map, and it was okay. I really enjoyed it, but that's because I enjoyed Black Ops 4. It was my first zombies game. So looking at it objectively, it was worse than Mob of the Dead. There was too much going on. There was too much going back to the spawn area. The spawn area was useless. There were 3 pack-a-punch locations, and that's not even getting into the broken system that was Black Ops 4 with the perks, specialists. That's a Black Ops 4 issue. But the thing with Blood of the Dead was moving pack-a-punch, 2 different power switches. Brutus would spawn in every time that you touched anything. It just felt a bit too much, and the Easter egg is horrible. Like, the Easter egg is a genuinely one of the hardest Easter eggs ever in gaming history, let alone Call of Duty history. So, launch was very mixed. You had one really, really standout map, and then Voyage and Blood sort of sat way below that. But most people played Voyage first, because Voyage was the default map that loaded, and Blood, everyone played it a couple times and then realised that it wasn't Mob of the Dead, so they sort of moved away from it. In previous COD entries, the story's always been there, Primus, Ultimus, Victus. I mean, Victus can be ignored, but Victus still played a pretty significant role over sort of the Ultimus side of the storyline. Even all the celebrity casts had their own little role. I said Call of the Dead earlier. Call of the Dead, they had to retrieve the real device so that Ultimus could do stuff with it. It was all very cool. The storyline was amazing. I loved the COD Zombies storyline. But the fact that they split the storyline made it more difficult to process how Black Ops 4 worked. So Black Ops 4 was essentially trying to make story the central part. They tried it out with, Black Ops 3. But Black Ops 3 story and Easter eggs sort of equaled gameplay, whereas Black Ops 4 tried making the story superior to gameplay, which is a problem, because gameplay is the reason why we play games. We don't play games for a story. We play games to have fun, and if we can get invested in the story at the same time, then that's brilliant. but making the story more central, it did add the layers of mystery, you know, the lore, the world building. It was all amazing, you know. I still remember watching old Mr. Ruffwaffle's videos about this new cipher has been cracked, it means this, this and this. You know, the Alpha Omega storyline was amazing to me. I still remember it, it's brilliant. But the problem is, you know, they sacrificed gameplay in order to make the story brilliant. So the whole game suffered over that. And yeah, the Chaos characters, you know, we have Scarlet, Bruno, Diego and Shaw. Now Scarlet, her dad was kidnapped by a cult, and it's unclear whether he's in the cult, the leader of the cult, or working against the cult. Bruno used to work for the cult, presumably, from the end of 9. Diego has something to do with something, and Shaw knew her dad very well. So, those 4 characters, they sound pretty interesting, but, you know, they didn't flesh the story out enough to care. And their own personalities were cool. I don't like playing as Bruno, he annoys me. But everyone else is amazing. You know, I love playing with them, they're funny. They don't take themselves too seriously. But then, you know, when you walk into a new room, they'll say, oh, what is this? It's really nice. And it does make the plot feel dynamic. It makes you feel like you're controlling it. But character quotes aren't why we play games. Almost useless to mention. Innovating gameplay. The complexity and customization of Black Ops 4 was amazing. If you like complexity and customization. So Black Ops 4's mode of zombies wasn't just about the story. You know I've said that the story outdoes gameplay, but that doesn't still mean the gameplay isn't a massive factor in this game. You know, the gameplay mechanics were so different, and that's sort of the issue with zombies, I'm not gonna lie. But one of the most significant changes was the addition of spawning in with a wonder weapon as your specialist. You know, you recharge it, you get, I think, 15, 18 kills, something like that, and you get your specialist, and that's essentially a wonder weapon. You can choose between a variety of your specialists. You know, if you're playing the Chaos storyline, you get four specialists to choose from. If you're playing the Ether storyline, you get 4 different specialists to choose from. On the Ether, you essentially get a death machine that also has a grenade launcher at level 2 and a nuke at level 3. You get Takio's katana, which I'm not sure what the level 2 upgrade it is, but the level 3 upgrade is the zombie blood, so you get the zombie blood for 20 seconds depending on when you activate it. On the 3rd one, you get the flamethrower, which is basically just a really good flamethrower. It doesn't really do much other than throw flames even when you level it up. And then on the 4th you get the Ragnaroks, which is a cool throwback, you know, nod back to Draz and Drak, and I quite like the Ragnaroks, they're quite fun. But they did get copied from Black Ops 3's multiplayer's gravity spikes, so that's another way that sort of Black Ops 4 fails to innovate. And then on the Ether side you get the Spectre of Ra, which lets you revive players, also puts up a protective bubble when you level it up. You get the Hammer of Valhalla, which is basically a lightning hammer. Level 1, it's just a normal hammer. Level 2, you get to spawn essentially a cloud of lightning, where if any zombies walk in through it, they'll probably die. And on level 3, you get to shoot lightning bolts. It's really cool. You get the chakras, which are basically useless, no one really uses them. And honestly, I forgot the 4th one, and that's part of the problem with Black Ops 4. Nothing's really memorable, but the bad stuff. But the forgettable things is what makes the game even worse. You shouldn't really be forgetting things in games. I can name every single specialist that was available on Black Ops 3, you know, every wonder weapon. It's just a shame that that's not the thing on, you know, Black Ops 4. But that's enough about specialists. You know, it would let you customize the way you want to play. If you want to be the healer, what used to be, you know, you'd get the upgraded ballistic knife and quick revive. You can now just run the Spectre of Ra if you're playing on a Chaos map. But besides that, you know, you get your specialist, and then you get to customize your perks. Now this was the big problem with Black Ops 4. So Jason Blundell looked at Black Ops 3, and in playtesting that wasn't actually a thing that you pre-selected perks, but he looked at Black Ops 3, and then during playtesting of Black Ops 4, He had all of the regular perks, you know, quick revive, double tap, jug, speed cola, etc. And what he noticed was most people weren't trying out the new perks. They were just sticking with the basic full. So what he did is he scrapped it, and he goes, right, we're going to do X, blah, 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 blah. He's going to do so much stuff. So he decided that he'd add in like 28 new perks and scrap the originals, which is good because it makes total sense. But since I've bought Black Ops 4 and figured out how to play the game, I have not changed which perks I run. I always run Dying Wish, PhD, Mule Kick, and Stamina Up. Stamina Up's in my modifier. So as good as it is to innovate and re-innovate, it is awful because all you've done is reintroduce these crutch perks and taken away the utility and the fear of the early rounds. You know, no longer can you get double swiped. No longer when you're, you know, just running about can you literally be shaking because you've run past a zombie and it's swiped you. You know, that's not a thing anymore. And even on Black Ops 3 that was slightly a problem, but zombies were quicker back then, so you know, having 3 hit downs was a good thing. But it's just a shame that Jug, you got given Jug. Double tap was after you had pack punched your gun 5 times, which is another problem. Speed cola was after you had all 4 perks. And quick revive, you spawned in with 2 quick revives and there's ways to get more. And don't get me wrong, I've got no problem with this type of innovation. I really quite like the choosing the perks. I just think that the objective of it was undermined by the fact that you spawn in with the ability to get all 4 perks without having to spend money. So you essentially spend the whole time on 8 perks. And if you pop a perker, you spend the whole time on 14 perks. Because you get 6 perks, plus your 4 that are in your pack, plus the 4 that you get after you complete all of the other stuff that you've got to do first. So it's just annoying, the fact that Jason Blundell decided he wanted to do one thing. He did it, but he also prioritised keeping those things in the game. What I think they should have done is they should have done something like Revelations, where you get masks or you complete like specific challenges that require you to go out of your way to do them, instead of just being part of the natural progression of the game. Who doesn't get their 4 perks? You know, no one on round 20 is walking around without their 4 perks. So it's just a shame that that type of thing has happened. But yeah, the game failed anyway. It's 7 years old now. It's past it. But that's not even the worst bit of the customization. The worst bit of the customization to me is the elixirs. Because Gobblegum were amazing. And elixirs are Gobblegum reskinned. However, you get to choose which one. The only reason why Gobblegum weren't completely game breaking is the fact that you had RNG. Now granted, for the first 5 spins there was some RNG, but by the time you got to your sort of 3rd or 4th spin, you sort of knew what was coming. Whereas in Black Ops 4 you literally get to choose what you pop. So I could, you know, load up on round 1, and instead of like really quickly skipping through the rounds, what I could do is I could pop a Perkaholic to get all my perks. I could pop an extra credit, a raindrops, and a shopping free, and get the whole map open with all my perks, with points on round 1. Instead of what you could do on Black Ops 3, which is you choose to spin the Gobblegum machine. If you get your perker, you've just got to skip the round because you don't get any points. If you get an extra credit, you spin again. If you don't get anything like that, like, there was a system. And on Black Ops 4, the only limiting factor is the fact that you have to skip around before you can reuse the same. Yeah, the problem with elixirs is that with Gobblegum you had 3 spins per round. That was it. That was all you had. So if you're on round 60, you get no choice but to play for another 10 minutes before you can spin again, if you use all 3 spins at the beginning of the round. Whereas when I'm on round 80 on Black Ops 4, I can still use all 4 of my Gobblegum, wait for a cooldown of like 15 seconds before I can use my next one. So I have to wait a total of about maybe 2 minutes if I'm dealing with zombies at the same time to use all of my elixirs, get literally everything I need to set up for the round. I can get max ammos, all of my equipment back, my specialists regained. You know, it's all a big problem. And elixirs, they were great. You know, they reintroduced all of the good ones from Black Ops 3 and introduced a whole load more good ones from Black Ops 4. Talismans also did the same thing. Talismans were really good. Like, you know, you got an extra quick revive, which was okay. Like, part of the problem was, you know, you spawn in with a quick revive, but I don't have any problem with the extra self revive, and it's one of the rarest ones. Spawn in with a level 3 weapon, modifier for your perk when the second you get it. You know, extra armor, permanently keep a perk. First box hit is a certain type of weapon. You know, I quite like talismans. I think they're quite cool. But that's besides the point, you know. It's just the fact that you spawn in with everything pre-selected. Instead of what you used to be able to do on Black Ops 3, which is you spawn in with Gobblegum pre-selected, you sort of have an idea of what perks you're going to do. But if you've downed twice, you start from scratch anyway on Black Ops 3. Like, you can choose to redo your perks. You can choose to spin the Wonder Fizz and try and get Deadshot if you really want. You can't do that on Black Ops 4. And it sucks, but we'll move on. Easter eggs. Now, obviously in the video you can see that I'm doing the 9 Easter egg. You can see that I'm sort of stumbling my way through it. I've done it before. I know what I'm doing. I know how to do it quickly, but I thought I'd rather not. I'm not in the mood to speedrun Black Ops 4. But Easter eggs on Black Ops 4 were very fun. Other than Blood of the Dead, which was a nightmare, and Classified, which is just high rounds. It was some of the best world building, complex things you could get out of this game. Like, don't get me wrong, all of the Black Ops 3 Easter eggs were better, other than, obviously, the Giant. However, I think Treyarch learned their lesson from mainly Origins, which was they tried getting the storyline too close to the Easter egg. And they also learned the lesson from Shadows of Evil, which is why Shadows of Evil sometimes feels really repetitive. To get fully set up on Shadows, you have to do like 90% of the Easter egg, which, don't get me wrong, isn't that much of a problem if you're doing the Easter egg. However, if you're not doing the Easter egg on Shadows, you just feel like you're doing it anyway. So it really does kind of suck. But, I mean, 9 was a really difficult Easter egg anyway. Like, purely due to the fact of the high rounds. Like, you can't start it until round 17 at the earliest. Like, truly start it. Getting the Circuit's Kiss does not count. But, like, to truly start it, to start the tree step, which is step 1 for me, you can't really start it till round 17, 18. Same with Blood of the Dead, but obviously that's been discovered that you can monkey bomb it. So that will obviously shave off a lot of rounds. Like, you can get that probably done by round 8 if you get lucky on your monkey bombs. But either way, you know, the Easter eggs on Black Ops 4 were brilliant. And the difficulty was right there with it. The difficulty was such a good factor. It made you feel like you really accomplished something. I didn't complete the 9 Easter eggs for 4 years while I was learning how to play zombies properly. Like, don't get me wrong, I took a break, but it took me a long time to learn the 9 Easter egg and be efficient with it. I got to the boss fight countless times and then kept on dying. So when I finally got that cutscene, I was so excited and so happy. And that to me is just the perfect way to summarize the Easter eggs. Like, they are so difficult, yet other than Blood of the Dead, so playable. Like, the Easter eggs feel so normal. Like, you don't one of my biggest things with Easter eggs is having too much stuff in a map to do in like one thing in, which is why I like Origins. Origins has five things in each sort of area of the map, if you like. So like Gen 2 has like 4 or 5 things to do. Gen 5 has like 3 or 4 things to do. Gen 4 has 2 or 3, 4 things to do. Gen 6 has so many things to do. You've got tanks, etc. Like, there's so much stuff to do in each area. One of my big things with maps is like Zetsubo, where you have to just go to one fucking corner of the map just to get something done. And then you have to go to the other corner of the map to get one thing done. You can't do it all at the same time. That's what makes a tedious Easter egg to me. Whereas, because all of the maps feel a bit sort of clusterfucky in normal gameplay, the Easter eggs actually sort of shine because of that, because everything's so close together that the Easter eggs sort of work. Whereas obviously in normal gameplay, don't get me wrong, it's a ball ache, but Easter eggs work quite well with it, other than Blood, because Blood's a fucking huge map. But either way, like, it's so rewarding to finish, and the storyline that it adds, you know, Tag to Toten was one of the best endings to a franchise that I've seen, and then they ruined it with Cold War, but that's a video for another day. But Tag was a really, really good ending. I thought it was really moving and touching. You know, I cried when I watched Mr. Offwolf was reacting to it, because that was when I realised that I was too late to be part of the zombies community. Turns out, the zombies community is not dead, so I was quite excited when I discovered that. I was 12, don't judge me. But like, outside of obviously Black Ops 4 being made for the Great War map, and that was the whole point, it doesn't matter. Like, it was quite a good ending. You know, it made sense storyline wise. It didn't give anyone a violent ending. Everyone was happy. They were sat around a campfire drinking. You know, it dove into Nikolai's guilt because he knew what he had to do. You know, just a lot of things happened that it was cool. I quite liked it, but let's move on. So another area where Black Ops 4 Zombies truly shone was the diversity of the maps. You know, I've already talked about the differences between the Chaos and the Ether storyline. I'm not going to do that again. But 3 launch maps was amazing. You know, it did make the game suffer as a whole in the grand scheme of things, but 3 launch maps gave the whole game much more replayability. You know, all of these different things happened, and a lot of development issues, and campaign was finished and then it got removed. That threw everyone off a little bit. But Black Ops 4 Zombies was very diverse, and provided Dead of the Night had been advertised better instead of dropped on some random Tuesday night after like one trailer, would have been really good. Ancient Evil, another one of those amazing maps that just kept on building, man. And I don't even really know what to say about Alpha Omega. It was just below average, but diverse. You know, outside of, if you try and dissociate the Black Ops 4 maps from whatever they were remastered, you know, Blood, Mob, Alpha Omega, Nuketown, keep them separate, because they are different maps. You cannot call them the same map. They're just good. They're good maps on their own. It just sucks that we have something to compare them to. Each map was designed well, for the most part. You know, most of the maps were designed very well, and they all had their own atmosphere. They didn't have to piggyback. You know, that was one of the things I sort of didn't like about Black Ops 3. It felt like every map sort of didn't carry its own atmosphere. Every map sort of built off its own. And don't get me wrong, that's really cool, and I love the storyline of Black Ops 3. But it didn't change the fact that no map felt like its own map. Zetsubo felt like it built off of DE. You know, Gorod felt like it built off Zetsubo. And everything felt like it was just a big mind map around Origins. Even Rev really felt like Origins, the reunion, almost. Like, it was almost like the characters were reminiscing. And I didn't like it personally. So that's why I really like Black Ops 4's ambience. It really did feel like their own maps. Now, of course, one of the most impressive aspects of Black Ops 4 Zombies mode was the constant stream of updates and new content. Treyarch didn't just release the game and walk away. I mean, regularly they did update the game with new maps. That's natural for the DLC cycle of Zombies. But also multiplayer, you know, there was a lot. Limited time modes, that was another multiplayer thing, another blackout thing, but I can't ignore it. Seasonal events. This was a big thing for Zombies, so you had double XP for the armory, you had double plasma for your elixirs and talismans. They were all cool, I quite liked them. But you also had like the seasonal events like Halloween Terror and Operation Apocalypse Z, with new challenges, new skins, which were really cool. The fact that you could customise your own character in Zombies. You know, the players kept coming back, which is good. That's the sign of a good game. If players keep coming back during the game, that's good. But the problem was, you know, Black Ops 3 was taking back off on YouTube because Zombies community did not like Black Ops 4. But either way, the legacy of Black Ops 4 still continues. Black Ops 4 did not just grow. Over time, it has gone from the worst game to one of the best in modern Zombies. I'm not saying it's one of the best total. However, in modern Zombies, sort of Black Ops 3 onwards, it's one of the best games. You know, the community goes back to it. They enjoy it. Community goes back to Black Ops 3. Obviously, that's the favourite. Black Ops 6 is still yet to sort of be decided on the positivity of the game. I don't think that Black Ops 6 will have the same legacy, purely because I think gaming's changed. Gaming as a whole has changed a lot, and I touched on that in my last video. But Black Ops 4 really is the game that people want to play now. Like, Black Ops 4 is starting to see its resurgence. I see a lot of people, you know, doing the whole revisiting Black Ops 4 7 years later type of thing. You know, redoing the Black Ops 4 Easter eggs, Pack-a-Punch challenges. A lot of people do it, and maybe not the bigger YouTubers like Lex, Tim Hansen, you know, but, you know, a lot of the, I say smaller creators, but like the creators with like sort of 100k, 50k, all of those type of numbers, which are still quite big, they still play Black Ops 4 and they revisit, and that keeps the community growing, which I think is really cool. You know, I'll give my final thoughts now. So when Black Ops 4 launched, I loved it because my brother played it, etc, etc, etc. I touched on this in my last video. I really went into why I love Black Ops 4, but let's go into it objectively now. So Black Ops 4, when it released, was underwhelming. No campaign meant that if you didn't understand Zombies, there was no way that you could get better without affecting statistics on multiplayer, really. Like, you could play offline, but no one wants to do that. So Zombies was sort of left behind because the developers sort of produced 3 maps and went, yep, there you go, and that sucks. But the Easter eggs were good. Perk system was innovative. It just undermined itself. Pack-a-Punch was annoying. Pack-a-Punch was a genuinely bad feature. So what about Black Ops 4 now? I think Black Ops 4 now is truly one of the games that people want to remember, and they want to go back to it and sort of replay it and have some fun. I think it'll go down as one of the fun games instead of one of the serious games. Black Ops 3 is definitely the serious game. I think Black Ops 4 will go down as the game that people go back to have fun, because Black Ops 2's outdated now, and that used to be Black Ops 2. Black Ops 2 used to be the fun game that people used to go back to and just have some good old-fashioned fun. They just hop on, survive till round 20, round 30, and get off. They wouldn't really stress too much about it. Black Ops 3 is a serious game. Black Ops 3 is a game that people speed run. I'm one of them. You know, a lot of people take Black Ops 3 quite seriously. It's one of those games where if you're not doing the Easter egg or like a very serious high round, I don't really see a lot of people playing it unless you want to play customs. Black Ops 4, I really do think that it will go down as one of those fun games. I think Cold War will go down as forgotten. We don't talk about Vanguard, and Modern Warfare 3, I don't know how that will go down, it's too recent. But they're my thoughts. You know, Black Ops 4 was fun, and it still is. And I think that's all it will ever be. If you guys like Black Ops 4, if you guys don't like Black Ops 4, If you guys want to tell me that I'm stupid because I left something out, then fair enough. Just leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe. See you later.